First off, let's give all of the speakers an unbelievable hand, please. How many of you today have learned something or got an aha or got something that you can't wait to get back and do something about? Raise your hand. Awesome. Second thing is give yourselves an unbelievable hand, you freaks. Come on. And I would like to, with your permission, do something different while we're here. Because the theme of this talk is the human revolution. And a revolution doesn't happen by doing the same things. A revolution happens because you do something different. Yes? So with your permission, I would like to do something different, and that is to actually give you something here today. Give you a tool, if you will, so that you can do what you know you want to go home and do. Because if you'd bear with me for a second and just be honest, how many of you have learned something before, and when you learned it, you said, that's the thing I'm going to go do? Raise your hand, and then keep your hand up if you never did it. Yeah, we all do. So what I want to do is, when I was asked to do this, I thought to myself, well, this is an unbelievable privilege, and I was extremely excited. But I thought what I could offer, my background is psychology, and I'm what's known as an ultimate performance specialist. And I thought, well, what I could offer you is something, a tool, if you will, that you could use it. Because this is a revolution, and I'd like you to think of this revolution as something different than a revolt or, standing up against the rage against the machine or whatever, how we look at a revolution. That's for the rest of the people that are out there revolting and doing all those things. A revolution is a revolvement. And every bit of evidence that we have right now in the history of humankind shows and says that whenever there's turmoil, whenever there's chaos, whenever there's craziness, we're on the edge of glory. That just beyond there, there's going to be prosperity and things are going to change. And we've all heard that. So with your permission, I'd like to give you that. However, I'm going to ask you for something in return. And it's two things. Number one is that you play with me through this process and interact. Will you do that? Yes. Oh, you say that now. And the other thing is when I show you what to do, you go out there and do it. Will you do that as well? Yes. Then here's the first test. Give yourselves a hand and have a seat. And we truly are on the edge of glory. And I don't have a lot of time here, so I'm going to move very fast. Is that okay? Yes. Fabulous. And I don't know which way to roll this thing. There we go. As a species, it says, we've heard this before, as a species, we're defined by the tools that we use. And what that means is the tools that each human being or each animal in the world uses is what places us on the hierarchy on the food chain. Does that make sense? Yeah. Absolutely. Think about it. This cute little animal here, he grabs rocks so that he can smash open abalone shells, so he can eat them open, and seashells and sea life. He uses that tool. This bird here, what he does is he finds a stick and sharpens that stick so that he can find it and poke it into the holes that worms have burrowed out so he can eat the food out of there, eat the worms out. This animal here, who doesn't know about a monkey? They are some of the smartest beings, if you will, on the planet. They use tools, they use sticks for walking canes and to build things with and for levers and even weapons. And then there's this guy with his amazing, the North American bloated couch potato, with his amazing forward and backward thinking brain, his opposable thumbs, and his ability to change his emotion with television. He is the highest on the food chain. And of course, here he is with his mated pair. Of course, that's not fair. Here's what we like to see ourselves, really. Productive and happy and white. I meant white clothes, not the... But the reality is, here's the question. If we as a species are defined by the tools that we use, what is the best, or what is our tool that defines us best? Which defines us best? And how can we use that tool to massively change everybody's experience on this, our experience and other people's experience on this planet? What is our greatest tool? Well, some say it's this. How many of you have a cell phone? I know one lady I talked to doesn't. But the reality is, some say that this is our greatest tool that we use. And if you think about it, how do we define that? How do we prove that? Try and take one away from somebody. my precious. Have you ever raise your hand if you've ever lost your cell phone or your smartphone. It's like losing your kid in the mall. It's like, oh my God, where, you know. But it's a useful tool. Some say it's this, and after all, what is a tool? It's an object that we can use, that we can leverage our time and our energy to produce a result. And isn't the brain a tool? Absolutely. How many of you have a brain? And what about this one? The human body. Same thing. It's an object. It's a tool that we can use. We can leverage our time, our energy to produce results. Well, the reality is that one of our greatest assets is our ability to use multiple tools to produce multiple results. And that's the gift that we have as human beings. The gentleman that was on the video before was talking about women can multitask. Well, I study the brains of people, and there's a reason why you ladies can do that. There's a reason why men can only do one thing at a time. Don't get me started on that one. But it's the truth. So I want to show you something. I want to give you a tool that we can use, these three things, that we can go out and we can make a difference, that we can make a change in this world. Raise your hand if you're up for that. That we can make a change, because it's got to start with us. As Lauren said just a little while ago, if you're not living who you are, then you're wasting yourself as a human being. I believe that as well. Most of us don't know who we are, but as physician, heal thyself. We all are here. I respect you that are here in this audience, the people that are watching on the videos, because we all do want to make a change. With all due respect to Charles here that said that there are people that we need to do something. The reality is we are. There's millions, there's 7 billion people on the planet, but there's millions and millions of people that are doing something, that are right-focused, that are looking forward, that are doing something. And you've done something as well, and that's why you're in this room, so I applaud you for that. But the reality is, I want to show you that we can change, we can make a difference starting with ourselves. Again, raise your hand if you're up for that. Absolutely. Our greatest tool, as far as I'm concerned, is our energy as human beings. Our energy. Because energy is an object, and we can do something with it. And I don't mean just, that energy about being excited and perma-grinning and happy all the time, that kind of thing. That's not it. I mean real energy. We literally have electric energy. You as a human being put off electric current. This is a photography. This is a photograph of Karelian photography. How many of you have seen this before? Human beings, every living thing puts off electricity, electromagnetic energy, and it can be photographed. It can even be videoed. And there's some properties with this electric energy that happens. That when we put this energy off, a couple things happen. Number one, we attract people. How many of you are attracted to somebody? How many of you are attracted to somebody that's excited all the time and somebody that's happy all the time and that kind of thing? We all are. That's what makes it. When you fall in love, there's an energy. When they take a picture of you when you're in love, what happens? You're just glowing. And you attract, people want to be around you. The other thing is, there are a couple things that happen as human beings. As human beings, we generate energy. That's a no-brainer all the time. We're attracted to energy, and we attract others with our energy, and we can change other people with our energy. And the reality is that if we learn how to use, manipulate, or to direct our energy, then we can change people. How many of you have ever been in a car, and you feel somebody looking at you, and you look over, and sure enough they are? Raise your hand. Or you're in a car, and you maybe look over and you see maybe an attractive person, and you look over at them, and they catch you looking at them, and they look over and they look at you, and there you are going, and you know what you always go like this. It's because your energy went through the glass across the space and touched them and felt them. How many of you have ever been thinking about somebody, and the phone rings and it's them? Because of your energy. Now, I'm not going to go into it, but these are very, very real things. So what I want to show you how to do is this. Number one, how to use those tools that we talked about. And here's the steps, if you will. Awareness is number one. Aware of what? Aware of where you are, what you're thinking about, what you're doing in the moment. Because as I was saying to you, Charles, earlier, that the reality is you know what to do. You know how to pay it forward. You know how to care for somebody. But the reality is we have so much stimulation coming in all the time. The internet, we've got, our cell phones, we've got television, we've got, our lives coming in all the time. We forget to. And what's so great about the bracelet that he has right there, it's a reminder. But if you could be reminded to bring up your energy and attract more people, would that be useful for you? Yes. Absolutely. So the reality is, number one, you got to be aware of where you are. Number two, your intention, and that's the brain part. Your intention to do what? Your intention to do what? To put your intention and your energy. By the way, that when you think about somebody else, your energy grows and they feel it. If you put your attention and intention on somebody else, their energy grows. Real quick story. I used to live in a small town not too far from here called Lancaster, California. A bleached, cultureless vacuum teetering on the edge of nothing. And out there, it was a small town, everybody knew each other, and if you saw somebody walking down the street, you'd look them in the eyes and you'd go, "Hi, how are you doing?" And they would remarkably look back at you and go, "Great, how are you?" And then I moved to Los Angeles. I was a musician several years ago. I moved to Los Angeles, and when I moved to Los Angeles, I remember walking down the street after just being there a few days and walking down the street, and when I'd look at somebody, I'd go, "Hi, how are you?" And they'd look at me like I just cursed their mother. Or they'd look away. I said that there was an art form for people to avoid eye contact. And instantly I thought, well, these people suck. They're just plastic, pretentious, they're horrible. And then I asked a question that none of us like to answer or like to ask, and the question was, what if it's not them? And I thought, no, it's them. I'm friendly. I came from Lancaster. And I thought, no, let me try something different. And I created something that I call my 50-foot rule. Now this is before I knew about Karelian photography and energy and all that stuff and everything. What I just decided was I was going to do something. If I wanted them to be happy, if I wanted them to be attracted and attractive and all those things, and if I wanted to affect them, then it had to start with me. So what I did was I started to just look at them, and as soon as I looked at them, I would say to myself, "I love you." Just that. Just, "I love you." That was my intention. And slowly but surely, people started to look up. And people started to say hello back, and it started to change. And just with my little thing, because I was changing, because my energy was changing, it was changing everything else. And I learned later that that was the case because my energy was changing. And they didn't suck so bad anymore. So I want to show you something first, and this is part of the tool that you're going to use. Please, everybody stand up. I said I was going to have you involve you in something. And I'm going to give you the tool, and then we're out of here. Actually, the next wonderful, unbelievable speaker. And this is something that I call the golden god or the golden goddess. And what that is that, remember let me back up for a second. The next piece here is rehearse. Rehearse what? Remember, I was going to show you how to use technology, how to use your brain. I told you how to use your brain, and that is put your focus, your attention on somebody else, but then use your body, because when we change our body, we intensify that energy that goes off so we can affect ourselves and affect other people as well. Did you know that just raising your eyebrow makes that energy grow? Putting a smile on your face makes that energy grow. We attract things and people to us just by doing that. So indulge me and you for a second, and I want you to grab one of these poses here. The golden god or the golden goddess. And you can be a little risky. Put a smile on your face as you do it. And give that, there you go. Look at you guys. I wish we could get the camera on you guys. Okay? Oh. There you go right there. Okay? Yeah, I like this guy's ear. Or you can even do one of these. Go. Now, how does that feel? How does that feel? Because what's happening to you right now, if we could photograph you right now with Karelian photography, you freaks would be glowing with energy right now. And it feels good, doesn't it? Now repeat these words. I with some enthusiasm, okay. I freaking rock. Say it again. I freaking rock. Give yourselves a hand and have a seat, okay? Now, here's the steps. Here's the steps. Number one, awareness. Set your smartphone for 1 hour, okay? You have a timer on there, 1 hour. We're going to use technology. You don't have a cell phone, get an egg timer, okay? 1 hour. Number two, when it goes off, your intention, and then every time that thing goes off, you're going to stop for a moment, and you're going to think of somebody you know or somebody you don't know, and love somebody. Just think about it. Just think about, I love you. How many of you can do that? And what happens is that energy starts to grow. And I'm going to show you that. And this whole process is designed to make it natural for you so you don't have to use this cell phone after a while. The next thing is while you're in that, rehearse and give yourself a golden god or golden goddess. And then the last thing is praise, which is so, so important. I'm a psychologist. The nervous system reacts to praise. When the baby for the first time turns around to the mother and father and goes, "Ma," do the parents go, "Ah, that was good, but it's mother, you little freak"? No, or do they go, "Oh my God, he said, Mom, good girl, yes. Yes, good girl, here's a cookie." They praise the baby, and the baby's nervous system, which is the smartest part of any human being, says that if I just do more of this, then I'll get good at it. That's why babies walk and talk and do all of those things. And if you do what I'm saying here, that'll happen with you as well. Your energy will keep going. Now is your time. Does this make sense, by the way? Will you do it?